Hi guys, today I will be reading Butterfly Region by SilentTeyz. So let's start. Chapter 1, Golden Throne. At the young tender age of 11, kneeling solemnly in front of his father, as the golden crown was placed on his head, Tommy knew that one day he was going to be an emperor. For over 6 years, he had been the perfect crown prince. Rumors spread out of the country about a boy, a spitting image of the current ruler of the Arctic Empire, who holds control over the royal palace, and has an influence around the whole 13 regions. When his time comes, people talk on the streets and markets. The true era of prosperity will start. Tommy would be flattered if he had the time to listen to these stories. Between the endless meetings, trading agreements, and constant flow of paperwork, he barely sleeps, he eats. He isn't complaining, though. It's the fate he chose for himself, even if he didn't know at the time that the position of the crown prince is possibly the loneliest there is in the entire empire. Letters were the only of the emperor's hands kept His Majesty busy. Tommy hasn't seen Techno ever since he left to train their armies in the north. Even if Wilbur was here in the capital, their relationship could be described to be strained at best. Stop biting me. The royal family just need to be close. It only needs to be balanced, like the pillars holding their country above their heads. Stop trying to bite me, cat. Stop it. Oh, okay. Stop it. No. Oh, yeah. As long as they are strong and steady. Yeah. Stop it. The Empire will be too. King, stop it. Calm yourself. It's a principle that helped. Stop it. Tommy's back straight and his shoulders broad through the years of his hardships and trials of errors. Through yet another formal meeting where his father's gaze would look past him, where his brother's words would be filled with poison that makes the deepest parts of his soul ache. In the end, it made him who he is. Future of the country, the heir to the imperial throne. I think that's how you pronounce it. I don't know. I'm really bad at words. Move. Stop it. Don't have cats. Just a life suggestion here. At the time, Tommy didn't know that his family would replace him with a commoner named Ronville. The day that would eventually lead to his doom doesn't start with a sinister sign or linear rain. After a long night spent with a quill in his hand and a tower of documents to look over, Tommy wakes up to shovel someone's steps. No, to a shuffle of someone's steps in his bedroom. His eyes flutter open, and he sees Tubbo drawing the curtains tighter to block off a sharp ray of sunlight slipping through. "Don't bother," says Tommy. "I'm already awake." Tubbo spins on his heels, not in the slightest bothered by Tommy's sharp tone and bows. "Your Highness?" "Morning," Tommy echoes, blinking. "What time is it now?" "I'd say it isn't morning anymore, Your Highness." Tommy pushes himself up on his hands. His head pounds, and his mouth is drier than the Badlands deserts in the boiling summer months. My schedule is emptied for the first half of this day. Tommy frowns. "You have no right to do that." "I don't," Tubbo agrees. He offers the prince a glass of water. Tommy takes a sip, savoring the honey-sweet taste that immediately soothes his throat. Tubbo continues, "But His Majesty has. He returned from his trip last night, and when I informed him that you were working, he ordered not to disturb you till today's evening." Tommy is fully awake now. He stands up, running a hand through the mess of his hair he had turned into overnight. To the mess his hair had turned into overnight. Trying to think of past few weeks and whether there was anything that he did that might have enraged the Emperor. Meetings went fruitfully. Reports were sent by letters and secretaries in time. Then where did the sudden change in his behavior come from? In search of a clue, Tommy glances at Tubbo. They grew up together, sons of an emperor and the captain of royal guards. Even if it's arguable who in between them two is better maintaining their emotions, Tubbo is first to look away and wrinkles his nose. Something did happen then. "What's the matter?" Tommy asks. "His Majesty wasn't alone," Tubbo confesses. "He brought a boy with himself. I was unable to get a good look, but the gossips are that he is a commoner." As soon as Tubbo finishes speaking, Tommy's worry settles down. "His Majesty is merciful and kind," he says, as a matter of factly. "The Emperor is known to take pity on orphans and the poor. The Crown Prince usually learns of another of his generous donations after painstaking hours of checking and recounting expenses together with his secretaries. It's not the first time the Emperor brings commoners into the palace. Either a lot of them end up getting employed, making the most loyal and grateful workers. You might ask his father about the guest later. Prior to that, the Empire's matters. A few years ago, separation with any member of his family felt like torture to Tommy. Nowadays, those trips take anywhere between a week and 2 months, and the first thing they do upon his arrival is get over all the necessary reports. There are times where Tommy expected a hug after it, some sort of praise. That was the attitude of a child. And he is Crown Prince. It's his job and his duty. He doesn't need to be rewarded for it any other way than satisfaction of serving the Empire well. There is a custom ringing in the Empire that the current ruler grants a wish to their heir upon the official coronation. When Tommy's father asks him if there's anything that he wanted, the prince dipped his head in a wavering voice and said that he would like to take over the eastern wing. There are 4 wings in the palace. The separation is not explicit. Bleh. The fact that the cat oh, there you are. Hi, baby. Yep. Where were we at again? Oh, yeah. When Tommy's father asked him if there was... No, we've already read that part. The only real difference is in what function each of them serves. The living chambers of the royal family were typically placed in the northern wing, so his request was met with careful curiosity, but not an outward refusal. Tommy hung on to that opportunity with a pounding heart, and reasoned that he would like to take closer document. He would like to be closer to document archives and secretly... Why are there so many weird words in this story? What the heck is that? Where the heck is Google? Google, I need your assistance. So laggy, what the heck? Oh, you need to tell my location. Yes. What does that mean? How do you pronounce that? Parlors. Okay. That was kind of embarrassing. Emperor Philza never got married again after Empress Kristen's death, so a lot of the work usually performed by the ruler's wife, control of the palace budget in particular, was passed on to Tommy's shoulders. The dedication he seemingly has to show towards his duties earned him a proud smile and a quick hair ruffle, and his wish was granted the next day. Truth be told, there was another reason why Tommy was so eager to move. The luscious gardens lying in between the palace and the outer fortress walls. In just a few months, the emerald green scenery would turn into a dying sunset of yellow and red. For the most part of the year, the Arctic Empire is covered in snow. that only melts with the help of western currents flowing from the Badlands. There is a celebration dedicated to typically the hottest days of the season, one the neighboring royals and nobles always participate in. Tommy still needs to finish the invitation sometime this week. Right now, however, he lingers a little longer on each step through the blooming gardens. His today's court consists of only a few people: Tubbo, one guard, the head of his personal security, Sir Wisp, and half a dozen servants. Drilling. Yeah, that's a word. The procession. Tommy spaces out, letting his legs carry him down the familiar path to the northern wing, and only tunes back in when Wisp's steps falter. He says, "Your Highness, look." Don't be a good kitty now. Thank you. You don't bite people. That's bad. That's bad kitten stuff. And we're supposed to nibble on people. His gaze follows the direction Wisp points in, and he sees a boy standing between two bushes, trimmed into a bird-like shape. With how often Tommy manages the placing of guests and court members, he might as well be the owner of the Imperial Palace. And yet, he doesn't remember ever seeing this face. With the obvious expensive clothing and a group of servants surrounding him, the boy couldn't be just some cook or secretary either. Anyone less than a... Give me a second. Foreign wouldn't be allowed into the palace grounds in the first place. Perhaps the prince has missed more than his father's return, and one of the high-ranking nobles has invited their son or brother to the court without prior notice. In that case, by the rules of hospitality, we must acquaint them as soon as possible. Tommy makes his way towards the stranger, and the closer he comes, the better he can see his face. The boy, he notes, not without it, internal wince, is much taller than him. The most noticeable part of his appearance, however, are his eyes, dull-colored green and red. They are impossible to skim, though. The moment the servants notice Tommy approaching, the buzzing noises of their voices turn into panicked whispers. They're practically bent in half, their gazes locked on the ground underneath them. The boy, however, only blinks and looks at them in confusion. And only after Vince's approving nod does he hesitantly bow down. What kind of noble does not know how to greet a prince? "Introduce yourself," Tommy says. Although Tommy keeps his voice steady and even, the stranger still flinches and brings his hands together in front of himself. People say that the crown prince's tone might seem sinister or harsh upon first meeting, so he tries to soothe down the effect with a smile. That would work better if it reached his eyes. My name is Ronbo," the boy finally says. No house name, no title, and completely no explanation for what he's doing here. Tommy feels himself growing impatient. What are you doing in my garden? He asks sharply. I was just looking around, I guess. Looking around. As if Tommy's garden's public property. He narrows his eyes and picks up on the change of mood immediately. Takes a step forward, ready to follow the prince's orders to escort the stranger out of here. I apologize for interfering, Your Highness, one of the servants behind the boy says. Ranbu is here by the mercy of His Imperial Majesty. Ah! Ranbu was the stray that the Emperor had brought then. Now that Tommy looks at Ranbu closer, he wonders how he didn't guess it right away, although the jacket he is wearing is lined with silver chains and sapphire buttons. The sleeves are too short, and his wrists and hands are sticking awkwardly out of them. Awkward wouldn't be the word for him in general. The way he holds himself and shuffles around in one place. Ranbu clearly doesn't feel like he belongs here. Good, because he doesn't. Tommy takes in the pitiful picture all at once and turns around sharply. He already wasted enough of his time on this commoner. Wait! Tommy stops. If anything, just instinctual, or perhaps it's the rules and principles engraved in his mind by his teachers, reminding of hospitality and politeness. As Ranbu braces himself, Tommy waits, with his back still turned. You're Theseus, right? Phil's youngest son? He told me a lot about you. The deadly silence that settles speaks for itself. Tommy straightens, hands locked behind himself, gripping each other tighter. The only members of the royal family are allowed to casually call him Theseus, and nobody in the kingdom ever calls the emperor by his name without including the title. Not even Tommy himself has addressed his father as anything but Your Majesty for years now. As he slowly turns around, servants hovering around Ranbu don't dare to resign their gazes. One of the men just quickly whispers something into his ear, his eyes widen fear and regret. It's Your Imperial Highness to you, Tommy coldly says. I'm sorry. Ranbu quickly stutters out. I'll be sure to address you correctly next time. There won't be a next time. The servants around them start to whisper and exchange glances. Tommy adds, You're overstaying your visit. I'll be sure to talk to His Majesty about that. Talk to me about what? A voice behind Tommy says. That's where we'll end it for now. This video is getting way too long.